2, drink water. Don't drink and drive.
Game over!
Take it light. Okay.
Now you're more fluent.
Mackinac, he's got 3!
Up, Bears. So this is really good right here. Absolutely. Let's do it.
Welcome back to Texas Rangers with the Boys. We are the Boys, your daily Texas Rangers podcast by a couple of pro wrestlers who love Rangers baseball. And hey, we want to thank you for making us the first listen of your day. This is your boy Kev, aka YBK, Kevin Frazier, Frazier on social media. Kevin Lee Frazier, man. Rangers look really good against San Diego in the first game, and then we're gonna talk Rangers. We're gonna talk Seager. We're gonna talk. We're also probably, I guess, we're gonna mention Simeon a little bit there too. Simeon. We're gonna talk Seager. We're gonna talk Bradford. We're gonna talk roster moves. We're also gonna talk about one of my favorite subjects in the entire team, and we're gonna ask a quick question: is it time to panic on the 2024 Texas Rangers? But hey, once again, don't forget to check me out on social media, Kevin Lee Frazier. That's Frazier. Don't forget to check out Texas Rangers with the Boys on social media, TX Rangers WTV. Don't forget to check out that website, TexasRangersWithTheBoys.com.
Oh, one word.
Also, don't forget to check us out here on YouTube, Texas Rangers with the Boys, and it will be on the Sports Fluent YouTube page. All you really got to do is search Texas Rangers with the Boys on YouTube, and we will pop up, and there are videos galore. Joining me, as always, my co-host, the 300-pound Manimal, a.k.a. Bull. How you doing, buddy? Where can they find you on socials?
Well, first, a very special happy 4th of July to everyone that's listening to the show today. We decided to do Thursday this afternoon after the Rangers wrap up the Baltimore series. And then that'll kind of just put us right back in line with how we would normally do our normal Friday show. So we'll take the weekend off. This will be the last show of the week this week with the holiday. And then we'll be back Monday, probably Sunday night with a Down on the Farm with the Boys show. And then Monday with a brand new episode of Texas Rangers with the Boys. So happy 4th of July to everyone. I hope you're listening to this right before you get out and check out some fireworks tonight. And don't post those things on the social media because we're all watching the same ones. Don't forget that. You know, we're all watching fireworks tonight. So, but if you want to see the fireworks that I'm watching, you can check me out at Manimal Bull on Twitter, Instagram, Manimal300, and both Facebook and TikTok at Bull Pro. But I won't post any pictures of the fireworks. I'll just post pictures of my backyard or something.
There you go. There you go.
Because that's where I'll be watching them from. I got the ones right by the house. It's great. I just look out the backyard. I don't have to do anything.
When I used to live in Florida, man, you never had to go anywhere for fireworks.
I remember one night talking to you on the phone when you were in Florida, and you had to stop what you were doing to stop someone from letting off fireworks directly in front of your vehicles.
That happened. We also
I believe we were on the phone together when that did happen. So yes. Or doing the podcast or something.
And we also had a dumpster fire in that same parking lot from fireworks. When we lived downtown Lake Worth, there were fireworks for Memorial Day, MLK, Flag Day, President's Day, Tuesday, July 4th, Thursday, New Year's, Christmas, Thanksgiving, Monday, any excuse, bro. And my dog goes crazy with fireworks.
I know. Yeah, I'm dreading this evening already. They didn't get too freaked out by Hearst last night, so hopefully that's a good sign. Whenever
I'm fireworks out. Give me a few.
Florida will do that to you, huh?
Give me a few. Whatever. Well, listen, I was driving down I-95, bro, on 4th of July, one of the years we were there, in the neighborhood. When you drove past the neighborhood, you had literally just like fireworks, just in all down the highway, because there's no laws. There, you can do fireworks in your parking lot.
Apparently
It doesn't matter if you do it in the grass. You can shoot fireworks into trees because nothing catches on fire.
Because it rained 15 minutes earlier.
Yeah. So yeah, it is
Now, when we had the building down there in Fort Worth, there on Lancaster and Beach,
Mhm.
we used to get together on the 4th of July and Memorial Day and New Year's and all of that. And we would play the fun game of gunshot or firework.
Mm.
And that was
Oh,
that was a
wait,
fun,
yeah.
yeah, we would play. Was it a gun? Is that a gunshot or is that a firework? So, yeah, I kind of know the game a little bit, not perfected it or anything like that, like the people of South Florida, but I definitely know the game. Real quick before we get the show started, got to tell everybody that Friday, July 26th. Is that what day you got? I got 26th. Matt Warpro will be back at the Southside Preservation Hall for Ultraviolet Dreamers. It will be a hypothermia mania. That's what it is. That's what we got. We got Martin House Brewing giving out free beer all night long. We got Starry's Ice Cream because you will need some ice cream. It's going to be July 26th in Fort Worth, Texas. You're going to need ice cream. And our friends with Kelly's Onion Burger going to be out back smashing down some onion burgers. They're good. They're delicious. Come out, have one of those, or have one of all three, or indulge and enjoy the start to a great July weekend with Matt War Pro, and it's going to have like 7 big wrestling matches. It's going to be a big time. Come on out and support the South Side of Fort Worth, Matt War Pro, Friday, July 26th.
Yeah, and just to assure you guys, I know you know my voice, but this is actually me. Apparently, I look drastically different with the man bun. But
Ooh, yeah, don't say that out loud. Just let people think you have it in a ponytail.
It's a man bun. The wife loves it though, with the beard.
Well, that's really all you're trying to do is impress her, anyways.
That's all I'm trying to do, and just like not have to have it for a day. Just pretend like it's not there.
Your hair isn't like a perm.
It's not a perm. Who gets a perm? Like I didn't even know guys got perms, and people ask me like, "Is your hair a perm?" Or girls, Is that a perm?"
Do people really ask you that? They really do. You like go and get a perm?
Because apparently men get perms.
There's no way that's true.
It has to be true because there would not be people asking me if I did. So you know what? Hey, you know what? More power to them. More love to them. Shout out to all the dudes out there with perms.
Tremendous, but yeah, Kevin doesn't have a perm.
I do not have a perm.
That's just God's perm right there.
I guess so, but no perm here, baby. Well, hey, let's talk Rangers. First things first, we do have some good news. Corey Seager is okay.
He's played the last couple of nights. I think everybody's kind of up to date on that, probably. But
doing good. Well, but
could have been bad.
We didn't know. We didn't know going in. But remember, Bruce. The funny part was Bruce Bochy was like, "I don't know if he's going to play or not." Blah, 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 blah. And then and
then yesterday, or I guess Wednesday before the game, they put out a lineup that didn't have him in it, and then about 30 minutes later, they put another lineup in that did have him out there. Smacked a double in both games. So, Corey Seager back healthy, good. It wasn't something that was going to cost him 10 weeks like what's happened to Josh Young, because look at it now, it's probably a season if something would have been broken in there.
Yeah. I think with Josh, and I'm Josh Young, man. I'm not even holding my breath anymore. I'm just kind of like accepting.
When it will be, it will be. Yeah, like at this point, that's kind of where it's at, and they're shutting him down till after the All-Star break. So they want to take every precaution, and he's still a young guy, and he's still got a hell of a future ahead of him. So you don't want to get things. You don't want to do any kind of permanent damage. And it sounds like everything's okay. You just can't get that little bit of swelling and a little bit of pain to go away. So give him some days where he's taking complete days off and go from there.
Yeah, is it even worth the risk at this point?
Well, if he's healthy to play, play.
I know it's
but no fighting and forcing it at this point.
Yeah, I mean
You're
it's not a solid. Oh yeah, it's totally worth it, man. We're in it. We're in it to win it.
right. I mean, if this was a team that was a couple of games back and they were talking about a push,
Yeah, yeah, man. That's where we're
no
at.
need. There's no need to really rush things and cause permanent damage over this. And at this point, we are where we are, and let's see if they can get healthy. And even if they do trade some pieces away, their health can put them in a spot to where they're still a good baseball team.
Yeah, yeah, and we'll let's chat about that in just a minute. Let's keep running through the news and talk about so Cody Bradford possibly looking like he's getting into good shape. I mean, with a guy like Bradford, he needs these innings this year. Like he needs it.
Yeah, it would be nice for him to get at least another 30 or so innings out of the bullpen this year, pitching in 2 or 3 inning increments. But it sounds like when he does get back, the bullpen is going to be where he's at. But they need arms in the bullpen, and Cody Bradford doesn't have to just be a long relief guy that can get him, linked out of the bullpen. He's the type of guy that he's got that good extension, so his fastball plays up. So he's the type of guy that could get you a single inning and kind of be like Andrew Heaney was out of the bullpen last year. Whenever you need some outs and you need a left-hander that can get them for you.
Yeah, and it's funny because you brought up him pitching on the bullpen, but like it's hitting me that Max Scherzer could be one of those players traded this year.
Well, yeah, and I mean, you got to think that Max Scherzer, Michael Lorenzen, Nathan Eovaldi, Andrew Heaney, those
Yep.
guys, those 4 guys, and then
Yates.
include Jose Urena in that same statement. I mean, you've got a pretty good rotation that's going to be, gone off the roster at the end of the year. So yeah, there's a good chance that Cody Bradford could get some starts at some point late in the season. But as of coming back, yeah, probably bullpen, and we'll just see how the rest of the year goes. I mean, you lose a couple of games to a pretty hot San Diego team. It doesn't diminish the facts that you could still be in things in a month or so, but it's not helping.
No. I mean, it's kind of just where we're at. It's like if you're in a totally different spot, what you're talking about is what you need to acquire at the trade deadline. I think right now, I'm looking for upgrade. However, like I'll take whatever in terms of upgrades.
Yeah.
Like I'm not because you're in an unknown state. So what I'm looking for is like getting some good. If I'm going to do something at the trade deadline, I want to get something that's going to upgrade this team like beyond this year. Because if you're kind of on the fence and you don't know, the last thing you want to do is try to sell everything out.
Well, and I think again, you may be able to get a lot more value selling than you think on players that'll be able to help you earlier than you would think too.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, like a lot of times when you were able to sell off a good starting pitcher and a relief pitcher there, you can you sell that off for pieces that are close to ready, that are AA and AAA ready. And next year, you've got guys knocking on the door that are actually real prospects instead of Dustin Harris and Jonathan Ornella and those guys that are. I mean, not that they're not prospects and not that they're not guys that can play Major League Baseball, but they're not guys that you're like, man, we can really look at moving Corey Seager for this guy, or we can really look at moving,
right,
whoever, Tavares or Garcia or whatever the case may be.
You bring up
whoever, yeah.
It's kind of like I mean, what it is that like these guys, if they were big time prospects that we were just super really excited about, they'd probably be helping this thing right now. Especially because most of these guys that you're bringing up most of the guys that we try to bring up this year are guys that are like, it's kind of do or die for a lot of these guys. And they just haven't panned out. And I think, again, like I'm with you on it. I think for the Rangers, like they could bring back a major haul this trade deadline with all these 1-year contracts that they've got and bring back.
Well, and when you think about last year, what the Cardinals got in return for Montgomery and Stratton, you've got to believe something like Eovaldi and Robertson would be worth well more than that.
Yeah.
You know, and I mean, that's not even a knock on Stratton and Montgomery. They came in here and helped us win a world championship. And, you know, Stratton, when they needed bullpen help, when he was first brought in here, he was good. He fell off towards the end of the season. But when they needed it, you know, so now you got to look at, like, what did we gave up? 2 guys that are now top 100 prospects in the minor leagues for that. So you're trying to get something of that equivalent return back.
Yep. And you know, I'm sure we might catch a little heat for kind of even having this conversation, but at the end of the day, man, like the Rangers really do have a ton of assets that are not going to be here next year, or may be here next year. Like,
if they are here next year, it won't be on the same contract they are now. That's how you kind of look at that. And if things aren't going to pan into a winning season this year, or the playoffs or whatever, and I know they're only 7 back or whatever the case may be right now, but you got to look at the idea that they're not playing good baseball at the moment. They have signs of coming out of it, and then they fall right back into it. So, you know, we'll have to keep watching as the month goes along. But as of right now, we're kind of in a situation where I would say they're closer to selling than they are to buying.
Well, and I think, like, to me, like, you know, it's a business for one. So you have to think of it in those terms. Like, you got to make the best business decisions for the franchise. But it's kind of like, because we don't know, that's why you can't invest in it. That's the problem. Because, like, if you had a team that you knew about, like, if there was kind of things that you knew, and maybe we're just kind of in a slide, that's one thing. But the Rangers this year that we have seen is a team that we kind of know who they are at this point. And honestly, bringing in, like, new young players and maybe making some changes to the roster might actually baseball is weird like this. It could change things for the better. And maybe we don't win the World Series or go to the playoffs this year, but it could create kind of like an uphill trajectory for this franchise going into next season.
Well, and I have a question. I want to pose a question for you, just kind of off of the cuff. A couple of years ago, the Mariners, in a year that they probably were either only going to be a wild card team or not make the wild card, they went out and they got Luis Castillo. And they gave up some to get him. They weren't exactly the team that you were thinking was going to go out and mortgage the farm for Castillo, but they did. Now, the kid in Chicago, is it Garrett Crochet or that kid right there? That is the type of kid, if the Rangers are buying, that's the kind of player that I want them to be buying on, as a kid that's got years of control. You're not exactly worried about getting him to extend long-term with you. If you can get those 4 years he's got of control after this year, you're pretty stoked on that. And you don't have to give up. You're going to have to give something up. You're definitely going to have to give up some. It probably is going to take Walcott. Maybe not, though, because you see things get done without guys giving up their top prospects all the time. So you just got to kind of wait and see. If you're giving up pitching that's kind of close, like Owen White or Jack Leiter for Crochet, it's kind of a whole different ball game than giving them up for a left fielder that may or may not produce.
Yeah, I agree, and I think that's the kind of deals that I would like to see the Rangers be able to pull, like some moves I'd like to see them make that really just increase the value of the team, even if it's going into, say, next season. One of the things about the irony of Bruce Bochy is this is like his MO, like win the World Series, whatever, the next season, and then
everything kind of crashes down because that 2011 team.
I remember. Yeah, give him he's got a whole different set of players, whether they're veterans or young players. And then, I I just want to see this team continue to do what's right for the organization to be competitive for the duration of the Simeon, Seager, DeGrom contracts. That's basically the simplest way I can say what I'm looking at,
absolutely.
what I want to see. And they've got tons of young players that are gonna come up and play for this team. I'd like to think during that period. And so I just want to see them do what's best for this team. And when we sit here and think about all these players that are on 1-year contracts this year and really just how much value those players could bring back, honestly, it goes right back to how great of a general manager Chris Young is, because he like dual thought this thing. Hey, they'll be great for us this year if things go well, but if they don't go well and they do play well, these guys will be great pieces to bring back some value for, so
I know I've told you about this, and we've talked about this 100 times. There's no such thing as a bad 1-year contract for a good player, because best case scenario, he comes in and he helps you win games. Worst case scenario is he probably comes in and helps you win games, but you're not winning enough games, so you get value out of him at the end. I mean, if your team isn't winning, you trade those guys. They're on a 1 year. If you felt within the organization that that's a guy that you want to bring back, you can always bring him back. I mean, the Yankees did that with the Cubs with Aroldis Chapman, and got Gleyber Torres for Aroldis Chapman straight up, and then we're able to sign Chapman right back at the end of the regular season, and that's the biggest win that you could possibly get.
You remember? I don't know if you remember this. I know you do because you have a better memory than me. But Ricky Henderson, the year he got traded from Oakland, goes plays for Toronto for half a season, wins the World Series, signs back with Oakland the next year. Like I wouldn't mind it to see it. I mean, I wouldn't mind having Eovaldi back on a
and he's going to cost some money this time.
No, I know, and I wouldn't mind. I mean, I'm not married to it. Lorenzen, I think Lorenzen is still I think he's a guy that you're still going to buy low on him. Whatever you pay him, you're buying low, because I think he's still got his peak is still yet to come.
Yeah, I think he's turned himself kind of into a 3-45 guy this year.
Yeah, I mean, I think he's worth every penny. But when you look at Heaney, I think Heaney's probably going to get out there and test the market.
Well, and Heaney's one of those guys that his value doesn't look that high, but every time he goes out and pitches, he pitches relatively well, except for that handful of starts. You know what I'm saying? Like, he had a couple of really bad starts at the beginning of the year. Then he went on a real nice run to get himself down around a 4 ERA, and then he's pretty much held that 4 ERA since the 1st of May. So, I mean, it depends on how deep they're looking into Andrew Heaney, but he still may be relatively cheap next year, and may still be one of those guys that doesn't exactly get picked up right away.
Right. Well, and I think also Max Scherzer, he could be one of those guys I'm talking about that could go trade deadline and then come back to Texas on a team.
Or I always wanted to see Max Scherzer get sent to St. Louis somewhere at the end of his career, just to play in St. Louis in front of his hometown and everything.
Well, I just know
damn well that if St. Louis gets him in a trade, they ain't going to give him $20 million again next year. And that's lowballing if Scherzer decides he wants to pitch, right? I mean, $20 million. He's making 42 this year
right now. Yeah. Well, hey, let's kind of downhill roll into these box scores and previewing the Tampa series.
We talk about Grant Anderson.
Well, yeah. I was just going to bring it up. Yeah, I was going to bring him up. Bring up the minor league player scenario that we're going to talk about, and then go into the farm. But yeah, so quick moves for the Rangers. Grant Anderson up. Davis Wenzel back down.
Yep. Probably more the fact that they used 4 relief pitchers on Wednesday night than anything Davis Wenzel's done or not done.
Yeah, I think I really feel like Wenzel, whether it's here or somewhere else, like he's just a late bloomer. He's going to figure it out, because I've seen this guy
I
hit the
really
ball.
feel like at the trade deadline, he's the type of guy that they should kind of send away and let him go try and find it somewhere with a team that's struggling.
I mean, I just feel like he's going to figure it out because I've seen him hit a few balls that are just, I mean,
On the screws, yeah. And I mean, every time you see him at Round Rock, he's hitting a ball 400 feet. So,
yeah, I think there's something there with him. Grant Anderson probably just a placeholder for the time being, and make sure.
yeah, Spore's not ready just yet, I guess, is more the case than anything. And as they get closer to starting pitcher ready, you'll see some more moves in that bullpen.
One more quick thing. The most exciting thing going on in the entire Rangers organization right now, personal opinion though, Kumar Rocker, he's throwing Friday. I mean, I'm sure the show's going to be out on Thursday. So normally we'd be like, he's throwing today. But tomorrow, like you said, get your MILB app at least for a month.
I think it's like $30 for the whole year. It's not like
and it's only like $3 or $4 for the month. So I mean,
yeah. So
you can't
get
lose
you,
either way.
yeah.
But get that subscription because man, this guy, I'm telling you, man, like if he comes back healthy and can stay healthy, he's going to be one of the most exciting players the Rangers have had pitchers come out of this organization in quite some time. And we also mentioned too a couple of other players for the Rangers in the minor leagues that are really exciting right now. When we talked about Toyota, he's made the futures roster, and rightfully so. This guy's just been electric all year. I think he's like an 80 something strikeouts.
Like a 1.78 ERA or something like that too.
Yep. And really, honestly, he could have been content just being a bullpen guy, and he's going to play as a big leaguer one way or another. But he came out this year and said, no. I want the big bucks.
Yeah.
I'm a starting pitcher.
Well, and
he's
the only people really talking about him being a bullpen guy were the fans.
Well, and if he's going to help the team this year in some fashion.
And I don't think that was ever really thought of, just the fact that he had been at high A. Now, at this point in the season, I don't know that it's uncanny that he might get a start or two by the end of the season with the big club. But I imagine at some point he's going to be sent to Round Rock sooner than later.
And I mean, we couldn't be more excited about that. And then other, like some other pitching prospects, Winston Santos and even Jack Leiter, have been pitching really good in the minor league. So
Owen White as well. So
yeah, the Rangers are going to have. I think again we're going to have some, some rotation spots behind, Jacob deGrom and Dane Dunning and whoever ends up. Now talk to me about John Gray's contract real quick before we.
He's at the end. This is the end of his 3. He signed that year with Seager and Simeon with a 3-year. So he's another guy that could definitely be shipped at the deadline if they're in that position, because he'll be a free agent at the end of the year. I know he loves it here, so it wouldn't be that shocking to see him re-sign with the Rangers. But at the same time,
bring him back.
Get some prospects back, and you know how it is when you have a season like this. You can kind of reload your prospect list, and the idea is if 1 or 2 of them hit, something good's on the horizon, and that's normally how it ends up.
I really think of all of the free agent pitchers, I like Lorenzen, like the guys that are starters. I like Lorenzen and I like Gray for sure, just because I feel like both of those guys still have a ceiling, have a high ceiling here in Texas. Eovaldi, I love him for the camaraderie, not camaraderie, but the nostalgic element. But he's a little older, and I worry about his health. I mean, it's kind of like it's not a matter of if, but when.
He's had the 3 Tommy Johns or 2 Tommy Johns or something like that. So of course the health is always a concern with him, but at the same time, he's the ultimate competitor. Nobody takes care of his body as well as Nathan Eovaldi, and no one knows. Last year, if he would have made one more start, there's a chance he could have torn his UCL and had another big time injury, but he knew where he was at. He knew that he needed to shut it down for a little while, And fortunately for the Rangers, fortunately for him, fortunately for us, he was able to get it together at the right time and put up big inning after big inning in the playoffs last year. And I mean, we talk about Young and how important it was for him last year to be in the lineup and when they struggled when he was hurt. But don't forget about how bad they struggled when they didn't have Nathan Eovaldi throwing every fifth day for him in that second half of the season.
Yeah, and we couldn't be more grateful for Nathan Eovaldi being part of this organization. And I don't want it to come across that way. But hey, real quick, we talked a little bit about the minor league players and what's going on with this team. And we talked a lot about just minor leagues in general because of today, just because of, the position that the Rangers are in and what the rest of this season might look like for this club. And if things are going to shake up for this team one way or another come trade deadline. It shakes up for everybody. And so a lot of things are going to happen with this Rangers team at the minor league level. And if you want to make sure that you are up to speed with everything going on with this team, you can go check out our exclusive content down on the farm with the boys, where we cover all things Rangers minor league. It's your one-stop shop for all things Rangers organization wide. We do our top 10 list every week of the top 10 players of the week or top 10 players of the month. And then we kind of go through and utilize that strategy or that format to really just go around the entire minor league system and talk about what's going on with this team, what's going on in the minors, and who's doing what and where. We cover all levels from the Dominican Summer League all the way up to the Round Rock Express. So go to our website, TexasRangersWithTheBoys.com.
All one word.
Or you can check us out on Spotify for just $1.99 a month. You make us that, like I said, make us that one-stop shop for all things Rangers organization-wide. So go check it out. Well, we got box scores.
They're not pretty.
Highlights. I mean, Wyatt Langford seems to be a highlight.
Almost every night doing something.
Yeah. He's a highlight. He's kind of I was afraid that he was going to be that this year. I was like, as the year started to shape up, and I was just like, man, is he gonna be the only? Is he gonna be the only?
Well, I guess Josh Smith too, right? I mean, he's been kind of Kirby Yates. Last night, Kirby Yates. I mean, he just blew dudes away. It was like you could tell he was rested and well and feeling good. Just the rest of the bullpen wasn't very good. John Gray didn't give him any length last night. Not that John Gray was particularly bad. He just wasn't particularly good either. And there were base runners all over the place. And he walked a couple of guys and gave up 7 hits and had 9 base runners. And now they limited that to 3 runs. And, overall, it's not the worst thing in the world for him. But, Leclerc couldn't get that third out when they needed it. The Profar stolen base was big. And the room for error became very small whenever Profar stole third base, and that ball jumps over the bag by this much, and that room for error is gone, because now instead of bases loaded, 2 outs, you get one more chance. You can go out and do the exact same thing. They've got a run on the board, and now it's 4-3. So totally understandable there that the base run. It was really good today to see a base runner get thrown out and not see San Diego just feel like they could swipe bases all damn day long. So, but that was a big killer late in the innings last night. Was stolen bases and the Padres on the move, and it got them in the the 5th there. For 1 run, and then in the 6th, Leclerc came back out, hit a batter, and that kind of, last comes in, and he couldn't get anybody out. And
6 stolen bases last night. 6.
Yeah, you can't have that. I mean, there's got to be some kind of combination from your pitcher and catcher to get one of those guys out, 2 of those guys out. I mean. Between 1 and 2 would be league average, so you got to be able to get 1 or 2 of those guys for sure.
Well, but listen, like, and again, Leclerc the Leclerc-Heim combo gave up 1, 2, 3, 4. 4 came off of Leclerc and Heim.
Yeah, 2 double steals.
Well, and 4 of those, 4 of the 5 came off of that pitching catching combo, which again, I don't mind. I'll pile on Jose Leclerc anytime I can this year. It just goes back to a player that has great stuff, but just the mindset something's up with the mindset with him, and it is what it is. He just has not had a good season for this team, and we're not blaming him for all the woes of the Rangers. It just really,
Obviously, yeah, definitely.
many
I mean,
ways,
if you look at that inning, if you
you know?
look at the inning for Leclerc, there were more positives than there were negatives, but those negatives are going to definitely outshine the positives because he not only gave up the run that John Gray had left for him, but then his run was the one that was given up to tie the ball game up, and then that puts Dunning in a position to where he's got to be perfect for 2 1/3 instead of have a little bit of leeway. And I mean, Dunning, I think he made really only one bad pitch in that whole inning, or in that whole outing, that 2 1/3 that he threw last night. But that one pitch that was the mistake got drilled. And of course, it was the guy that hadn't hit a home run all season, hitting 210, 210 with a 590 on base plus slug, and then he was and somehow still pulled after that. So yeah, and honestly, I mean, there was some good things positively hitting wise. You had 4 more doubles, so the slug is still starting to come in. But they just last night, whereas they were able to add on Tuesday night, they weren't able to get those add-on runs later in the game, and that kind of proved to be the difference. And San Diego fought their way back, and San Diego is one of those ball clubs that they're really pesky because, like you said, they steal bases, but not just steal bases. They slap balls through holes. They hit and run, things like that. That make them, yeah.
Yep.
I mean, really, on that Arez single that drove in a run there, because that runner was running, Josh Smith had no play on that ball that was hit basically in the hole he was standing in. And if they wouldn't have been running right there, it'd just been a line drive right at Josh Smith.
Yeah.
But overall, the Rangers, they're hitting a little bit more. They had 9 hits. They scored 4 runs. They did have 13 strikeouts though. That's not really the positive you're looking at. But the 4 extra base hits. You're starting to see the hitting come around. Simeon is, I think, 3 for his last 60 though, so he's got hopefully that day off will get him some rest and get him back ready and energized for this series coming up with Tampa Bay.
Well, and one thing that didn't get talked about a lot before this series, not just by us, just in general, was that San Diego, like, that bullpen is they got pretty good bullpen, man. Like,
Robert Suarez at the end of it is nasty.
Oh yeah, but you mentioned 13 strikeouts. Well, 9 of those came from the bullpen. After Mazer left the game, so I mean, that has a lot to do with why the Rangers weren't able to get back into the game. Was that the San Diego bullpen is a little bit underrated in terms of just, man, like you said.
Yeah, they had the rookie kid from Japan that came in and he threw really well. What's his name? Matsui. And then Morjan has like 98 miles an hour with a pretty good slider. And then Estrada throws the ball pretty hard too. And Robert Suarez is sitting 100 with super fade on that changeup. So they've got some really good bullpen pieces. The Rangers just not enough in the tank to get through that one, and not enough pitching from the back end of the bullpen that needs to be better.
Right.
Morjan gets the win. He's 2-1 with a 2.45 ERA. Dunning takes the loss. That puts him 4-7 with a 4.71 ERA. And Robert Suarez is 21st save and 22 chances and a 1.05 ERA for him.
Yeah. Yeah, he's him and Clase both are kind of the cream of the crop right now in terms of guys out of the bullpen.
Yeah, especially dudes that really fire it too.
I mean, man. Well, let's jump into today's game, July 4th afternoon game.
That's Scherz Day.
It was a Scherz Day. Yeah, I mean, again, the offense kind of just disappears, unfortunately, for the Rangers. And Wyatt Langford, really the only one able to do anything with runners on base. Rangers had some base runners. They had 9 guys on base today.
Now Tavares had a hit with a runner in scoring position too. Garcia got gunned down at the plate there, so they did have a couple of hits, but not nearly enough chances to really get themselves in a position. I mean, they were 2 for 5 with runners in scoring position, so not really enough chances. And a lot of credit to King. He's got some good stuff, and he's.
Yeah, we talked about him. You remember me bringing him up as a guy I was trying to get on the fantasy team because.
Well, because he's a guy. He started the season a little bit rough there in March, April. Had a 5+ ERA or something like that, and then he's been pretty good in the last couple of months, somewhere around a 3 ERA. So. He's been a lot better as of late, and you could tell when he was starting to get gassed because the Rangers were kind of getting to him a little bit there. But overall, he was really good. You got to tip your cap to him. He had good stuff, and
he's one of those guys that I've been mentioning all year long, like a Urena or like a Lorenzen, like these guys that are super versatile, that have pitched in the bullpen and have been starting pitchers. And he's a guy that's kind of really flexible, really versatile.
Well, and he's a piece that came over in that Soto deal, so he's probably got 5 years of control left behind this year, based on how much playing time he's had in the past.
Yeah, I mean he's a nice player, man. He's one of those guys that you won't remember him 10 years from now, but was a valuable, a big leaguer that could.
I would say more like probably 10 years after his career.
Yeah,
like you'll remember him whenever when he's beating your team, but.
Yep. Well, speaking of beating your team, Jurickson Profar, that home run he hit today was a laser beam, man.
It was the home run that it was the equivalent left-handed of what Machado hit last night on John Gray.
Mm-hmm. Yeah,
just a laser beam that didn't get about more than 40 feet off the ground, and
I mean, you heard it when he hit it. It was just like thwack, and I was like, "Oh,
absolutely." A couple of really nice defensive plays today. 2 from Langford, that catch in the first or second inning. Really, I mean, I thought they'd get something going after that, but King was able to go back down and shut him out, and then they got the strike him out, throw him out from Kisner, and in the second or whatever or third to get out of that thing, and then they had the play at the plate in the fourth that Langford. I mean, perfect throw from Langford. That was
a better arm than we thought.
Yeah, 91.6 or something like that was the top speed on that thing. So pretty decent arm out there for a guy that
should be
supposedly supposed to be his worst. That's supposed to be his worst. Yeah. And then nice play by Josh Smith in the top half of the ninth there on that ball that bounded out just over third base. I thought they played great defense today. The pitching was good. Scherzer was definitely good enough to get a win. 6 1/3, 6 hits, 3 runs, just the 1 walk. But that 1 walk was that leadoff. Oh no, I'm sorry. To avoid a walk in that leadoff 6th or the 7th inning, he ended up giving that double up on a ball that he kind of just threw in there over the middle of the plate to avoid the walk. But just 3 Ks. But yeah, Scherzer's been pretty good. Urena, once again, really good. Just came in and shut the door and didn't let let things get any worse than they already were, and gave them an opportunity to win. And what they had second and third one out there in the top of the ninth, and he made a couple of really good pitches to get out of that. And the pitching was good again today. The hitting, not as much today. Just 6 base hits, just the one double today, the Seager double in the third, maybe the fourth, can't remember. But Seager had a couple of hits, Smith had a couple of hits, and then after that they had a hit from Langford, hit from Tavares, and that was it. Garcia had a walk, stole a base, got into scoring position. Tavares gets the hit that they needed, but Garcia gunned down at the plate there to cost him one. And just not enough offense today to get Michael King and beat the Padres.
Yeah, so Rangers going to be hosting Tampa Bay over the weekend.
You want me to wrap that thing real quick before we talk about?
Sure. Wrap
Mike King with the win, 7-5 with a 3.51 ERA. Scherzer now 1-2 with a 2.70 ERA, and Suarez now 22 of 23 with a 1.02 ERA. So he got better against the Rangers this week. But yeah, no, the Rangers, they fall 2 out of 3 to the Padres, and now we look forward to this weekend with the Tampa Bay Rays.
Yeah, it's going to be two teams that are kind of experiencing kind of a similar thing this year, with Tampa being, the best team in the league last year for a good portion of the season. Rangers also, one of the best teams in the first half of the season last year. Both teams really just struggling to stay or get to or stay around 500 this year, and just not a lot going right for either squad. So, but Tampa always plays great. They always pull the right levers at the right time. So it's going to be a fun series. One of my favorite teams to watch play baseball. So it's going to be fun having Tampa in town. Who are they pitching?
Rangers, they don't have anybody announced for the whole series. Tampa Bay doesn't, but the Rangers do have Lorenzen announced for Friday. Heaney announced for Saturday, and Sunday will be Nate Eovaldi. So the Rangers have announced their pitching staff, but Tampa Bay hasn't announced anything. So we may see 3 AAA guys, for all I know, that we know nothing about, that blank the Rangers and we come back here. But no, I'm not going to get too down on that. I mean, it's a chance to get some wins here at home, and the Rangers need to take a couple here and get this homestand back to even, and go on the road with a couple of division rivals before the All-Star break.
Yeah, this time next week, Rangers will be getting a day off before that Houston series, going into the big All-Star game. Don't forget to vote for your Texas Rangers. Is it already over?
It's over, yeah. Altuve did beat out Semien, so
not one Rangers game.
No starters in the All-Star game, but I would imagine that Kirby Yates for sure makes the team. We'll see from there.
Man, the
Rangers just have one All-Star representative in the year that they hosted this year.
Yeah, last year we had like 7.
Like the whole team was on the roster last year, and this year. But yeah, I think I'm looking forward to the 13th. I'm going to try and hit that futures game.
Yeah, that should be something else. But we're going to figure something out for this All-Star game, and hopefully try to get out there to get out there for the game, or get out for something regarding the All-Star break. But thank you, everybody, for tuning in. Don't forget to check us out on that website, TexasRangersWithTheBoys.com.
All one word.
Or you can subscribe to our exclusive content, Down on the Farm with the Boys. We cover all things Rangers minor league. Don't forget to check us out on social media, TX Rangers WTB. And don't forget to check us out right here on YouTube at the Sports Fluent Network. All you got to do is search Texas Rangers with the Boys on YouTube, and we will pop right up, and you can check out our made-for-radio faces. For the 300-pound man.
The made-for-radio man bun that you got going on there.
100%. You probably have one on underneath your hat.
No way, dude. No way.
Yep.
All the hair.
I've seen it.
Never once. Never
I've seen
once.
it.
This
I've seen
is
the
a made up.
little man bun underneath.
This is a made up story that
Seen
Kevin
it.
is
Next
making
time I'm
up
going to
right
take a
here.
picture.
Not one chance that's ever happened before.
Hey, for the 300-pound manimal, this is your boy Kev. We are Texas Rangers with the boys. We're signing out.